You fought Volkanovski, Max in what at those times felt like big fights, but this week in particular, as the person who's in the middle of all this media, does this feel like the biggest fight of your life?
I don't know what to tell you. It feels exactly the same, to be honest.
Is that because you've always seen the vision, envisioned yourself being in this spot, being one of the big stars and being in these big fight weeks?
Or maybe it's because it's the same.
Last week we spoke to you at a media day and you said that you expected Charles to march right towards you so you wouldn't have to go find him. And then yesterday he said, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to march forward and get into a fight.
Remember, this is what he's going to try to do. That's not something he's going to do. He's going to try to do it. He's going to try to win, of course.
Charles, you said before that you no longer fight to prove anything to anyone, but you do it out of self-love and to prove things for yourself. How do you face that situation and use that against Ilia Topuria, who's more out there for status and to show things to the world in a different mentality?
Da mesma forma como sempre. Nada mudou. Ainda continuo com sede, ainda continuo faminto, ainda continuo querendo fazer história. Essa é uma grande luta. Para a minha história, para o meu legado, eu estou pronto para isso.
The same way I've always done it. A guy that continues to be thirsty. Guy who's hungry for the win. This is for my legacy. This is for my history. I'm ready for this fight.
Are you surprised, though, that he's so willing to get into this firefight with you, and does that play into your hands during the fight?
Not at all. That's his job. He has to be confident.
Do you think then this fight might just turn out to be almost like a 2-minute sprint until you land and end this fight early?
2-minute sprint? No. He's going to try to work forward. He's not going to find a way to do it. And I'm going to make him play my game, as I said.
Charles, your history has always been kind of marked by a lot of resiliency, being discredited. And now you're facing a guy who's younger, who is undefeated. And once again, he's a favorite, and you being a underdog. Do you feel that this is another opportunity for you to continue to do the same thing?
Sim, ele é um cara que está vindo com sede, é um cara que está vindo invicto, mas será que ele tem mais fome do que eu? Será que ele quer isso mais do que eu?
Yeah, he's of course younger, comes in undefeated, but does he want it more than I do? Does he have more hunger and more thirst than I have?
And last one from me. Earlier today, Islam Makhachev did an interview and said he's not ruling out coming back down to 155. But if it was up to you, would you rather fight him at 170 to get that third title, or would you be willing to fight him at 55 because that's the division that people say he might be the best at?
It would be much better for me to fight him in 170. And I will beat him and get the third title. That will be the best scenario for me.
Charles, you fought the absolute legends of this game, the Poiriers, the Chandlers, the Gaethjes. But Topuria himself has a lot of hype right now. But do you see anything in him that matches the skill level of those men you fought? Or do you think you have to be doing this game for longer than he has to get to that sort of level?
Para mostrar.
Na realidade, cada lutador tem um time, cada lutador tem um espírito. Esses caras que você falou, quantos anos eles estão entre os melhores do leve? Não são caras que chegaram agora, estão quantos anos ali? O Topuria é um moleque que está chegando faminto, invicto. Tem muita coisa para provar ainda.
Now it all comes to every fighter has different levels of things, different approaches to things, and the way that they take up on fights. And Ilia is just coming out there and just very young, very hungry. He's also undefeated, but there's a lot to prove still.
I saw an interview where you said, when you were cutting to 145, sometimes it would get to the point where you just hated the sport because of how your body was reacting. So I guess how's camp been not having to cut those extra 10 pounds, and have you kind of rediscovered a love for this sport again?
Two different words, featherweight and lightweight. I have been able to enjoy the whole process. Even today, I feel good. And when I was fighting in the featherweight division at this point, I was feeling really, really bad. So, yeah, I think that I made a great decision.
You say that you're coming forward in this fight and you're the lion and you're going to bring the fight to him. He actually predicted that's exactly what you would do. Is there any part of you that thinks maybe I shouldn't play into what he expects, or does part of you think it'll be fun to prove that he can expect exactly what I'm going to do and I still manage to beat him at it anyway?
Todo mundo sabe o que vai acontecer. É mais um cara que está falando e vai dobrar na minha frente.
In reality, everyone knows what's going to happen. Is another dude that's talking that's going to fold in front of me.
And years ago, when Dustin Poirier went from featherweight to lightweight, he said it took him a few fights to feel like a lightweight rather than just a featherweight that stopped cutting. And Charles said something similar where when he went up to lightweight, where he would be able to knock people out at featherweight, they could take a lot more damage, and it took him a while to kind of feel like that. Do you feel like a featherweight still, or have you
That's
probably
the
feel it?
experience. I already fought in the lightweight division. I have one fight in the UFC in that division. So I felt actually great. So my experience is going to be completely different.
And outside of fighting, just how's life been for you in general since your last fight? Because we see you promoting fights, we see you on, doing all these media appearances in Spain. So just how's life been, just even outside of camp?
It has been amazing, amazing.
And last one for me, it's very easy to count people out in this sport. It happens all the time. They, maybe lose.
Com certeza algo gigante sobre legado, sobre sonhos, sobre o quanto você está vivo e faminto para isso. É isso que eu estou, faminto e vivo para isso. Eu posso se tornar campeão, eu vou se tornar campeão de novo. Se o UFC me colocou aqui é porque ele sabe. Quando vem nesses problemas, eles colocam eu, porque eles sabem que eu posso calar eles.
It's enormous, is what I said. It's about legacy. It's about dreams and promises. That's what I work for. It's about the hunger and the thirst. They know I can do this. I know I can become a champion, and I will become champion. The UFC knows this. Whenever the UFC's in a little bit of a pickle and they need to put people to take care of problems, they bring me here, and they know it's happening.
Ilia, down here, you fought back-to-back generational greats in Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski in your last two fights. Where do you rank Charles among them?
Where do I rank Charles?
Yes, among comparing to Volk and Max.
I would rank Volk in the first place, Max in the second, and Charles in the third.
We saw the power at 155 pounds, that fight you mentioned against Jai Herbert. Can we expect an even more powerful version of an already powerful Ilia Topuria this weekend?
More power, I don't know. I think that I'm a better fighter right now, more mature, more experience. You're going to see, for sure, a better version of myself.
Charles, you've been in the UFC for several generations of fighters now, and there are probably fighters that are joining that grew up watching Conor and Chael and these guys that talk quite a bit. That's never really been your game. You shake your opponent's hand before you even fight. Do you see fighters like Ilia and these young guys coming up thinking that that's what I have to do to make a name for myself, and just kind of roll your eyes at it and be like, guys, it's not that serious. We can just go in there and fight?
Cara, na realidade, são muitos anos que eu estou aqui, né? Vai fazer 15 anos que eu estou aqui. Cada um vende de uma forma. Às vezes, o jeito que você vende, as pessoas te criticam ou falam várias coisas. Por isso que eu venho aqui o tempo inteiro e falo, eu não ligo para o que eles estão falando. Porque, na realidade, às vezes pode ser porque esteja vendendo uma luta, querendo fazer com que a gente ganhe mais dinheiro. É importante, porque eu também estou ganhando esse dinheiro. Mas eu não consigo vender dessa forma, falando, xingando, criticando. Eu vendo da mesma forma que eu sempre vendi minha luta, dessa mesma forma, mas faz parte. Cada um vende de uma forma. Quando você chega aqui, você tem escolhas a tomar, o jeito que você vai vender, o jeito que você vai lutar, faz parte. Esse é o game, cada um de um jeito, cada um de uma forma. Eu não critico, não é o jeito que eu vendo, porém eu respeito, ele vende da forma dele, eu vendo da minha.
To each their own. People sell fights in different ways, and they have different approaches, not only to talking but also to fighting. And I know that depending on the way that you sell a fight or the things that you say, people are going to criticize you. So they're never happy with it. And I'll say, I'm not one to criticize even, because at the end of the day, he can say the things that he wants to. He can sell the fight the way he wants to. I'm making that money too, so he's helping me sell the fight. I'm not one to criticize, and I do think that's the way that they do it. I don't sell fights that way. That's not the way I operate. To each their own. People are going to sell fights differently. They're going to say different things. It is not my style, but people have their own ways about it.
Ilia over here. Ilia, there's this statistic: you have never thrown a kick to the body or the head in the UFC.
Yeah.
And honestly, just why? A lot of people have success with it. What is it you don't like about throwing that move?
the kicks never was a quality that I never had as a fighter. So I don't know. I never liked the body kicks and the head kicks.
Final question. There's a lot of lightweights who are doing well. Charles, Armin, and guys coming up. Did you feel that outside of Islam that Charles is the best lightweight that you could have fought?
100%. He's the best lightweight right now. If we don't count Islam, he's the best after him.
Feel like a lightweight.
And then just last one for me. I know you just want to win the belts in general, but there was that point, I think it was in the countdown, when your wife was saying, you already won a belt for your daughter, and you promised your new son you would win a belt for him. How much are you thinking about that, or is that something you have to put out of your minds, just kind of focused on the task in front of you?
Não tem pressão nenhuma. Promessas não tem pressão. Quando você tem fé, as coisas acontecem. Estou para ver um cara que tem mais fé do que eu. Tudo aquilo que eu prometi, Deus me abençoe, eu fui lá e cumpri. Eu tenho uma promessa na minha vida. Eu vou se tornar campeão mais uma vez. Está chegando o dia. Escuta bem o que eu estou dizendo. Meu braço vai ser levantado. Eu vou se tornar campeão.
There's no pressure. When there's a promise, there's no pressure. When there's faith, there's no pressure in promises, and you ain't gonna see a guy that has more faith than I do. There's no pressure whatsoever, and I know that the day is coming that I'm going to be a champion, and the day is coming right now. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm going to become a champion again, and the day is about to come.
In terms of, I know the weight cut was a big part of you, obviously, at 145. How much different has camp been not having to focus on that as much? Is it possible this camp's one of your best just for the simple fact that the weight cut isn't as big of a focus?
For sure, this is one of the best training camps that I ever had. I have been able to enjoy the whole process, like I said before. Like, I'm very happy with everything that I lived in this training camp, how it has been, and felt very happy during the whole process.
Charles, down here, to your left here. This weekend, many people are billing this as the potential coronation of a new face of the UFC, and that face of the UFC being Ilia Topuria. How satisfying would it be to not only reclaim the title, but to upset the apple cart and stop Topuria from becoming the quote-unquote face of the promotion?
Todos esses que chegaram falando um monte de coisa, quando trombaram de frente, mandaram para trás. Então, assim, o que falam, o que pensam, o que acham, a mim não faz diferença nenhuma. Essa é a real. Respeito todos, respeito tudo que vem falando, tenho 2 ouvidos para escutar todas as coisas, aquilo que é bom ensomado e guardar para mim, guardo, aquilo que é ruim, deixar sair. Mas para mim não faz diferença nenhuma.
They always said, every single one of them, they always said it when they came in, they came right back. I mean, they just bounced off me. I mean, when we faced each other, when we clashed, they came out on the losing end. I respect them all. They say what you want to say. I got 2 years, so I can, hear that and I listen. I take in everything that I feel that it adds to what maybe I think, and it's positive. Then I keep it, but I got 2 years, so it can come out the other way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me what people say. They're going to say what they're going to say, and I'm going to be the same.